The Sentus Mountains have been redone. Why? There's reasons for that. After all, just looking at this, it don't seem like anything's different. After all, the same morning blue sky hasn't changed. The mountains have not changed. The clouds have not changed, along with these vertical clouds here. These platform levels have not changed either, including the one that's barely visible right here. Bring my debug panel back, because I know I'm going to need it. However, there are some differences, even though it don't seem like it. Can you see one of them right now? I see one. What's the difference? Well, there's an air taxi right here. Except that's nothing new. Actually, it is for this particular world, because previously they weren't even present, because at the time I made it, or did it last, air taxis weren't even thought of. However, that's not the biggest difference I made. Here's a nice big one that's visible. The biggest difference is with these ground decals. Except farm fields are nothing different. There's nothing new there. Of course, if you look closely, you can actually see the air taxis hidden down here. Kind of hard to see because the clouds are often in the way. But where's that big lake that was right here? The ground decals sure look different too. What's going on? And if you look closely right here, you can actually see an maglev freight train going by. By the way, this is a freeway, complete with exit ramps and on-ramps. Take the exit, go up here, you can go to the town called Emerist. During my trips to Minneapolis, I kind of had that idea. However, to really get the rest of it, I want to bring up my terrain editor so I can get the mini-map. And in addition, I want to get the zoom. And just so you know, this is the only world in which I fully completed the terrain. Note that there are 11 total unique peaks right here. 11 of them. However, I don't want that crazy zoom. The maximum far out zoom. I want something that's balanced between farness so I can see what's coming up quite a ways, and closeness so I can see what's otherwise ahead. Come to a stop. Now I need to otherwise cover the rest of it. And as I go about climbing up this mountain right here, you'll see plenty of air taxis around. And they're not at just one height either. There's actually multiple different heights, or flight levels basically. Yes, the layered air taxi system is going to be present. But there is something else I really want to do. Why? Well, do a jump, activate bounce, and off I go. Okay, so what did I just do that for, considering it was just going to end up bouncing again, like that? Well, there's actually something. Hey, what do you know, he landed. I accidentally discovered that once, just by sheer chance, because I was a little late on my jump there, so I figure, hey, why not? But my destination is quite a ways away. And as I go through this, you probably might be noticing that the ground decals look a lot different. Every place I go to, they're different. So what's going on there? Well, actually, that's one of the biggest changes that I made. Instead of 6 kiloblocks repeat width, it's 32 kiloblocks. What's a kiloblock? Take the width of the screen where the foreground action is and multiply that by 32. It's a little less than a mile and a little more than a kilometer basically, or 32,768 pixels in the foreground. That's a huge span. And take that value times 32, and that's how far you have to go to get those ground decals to repeat basically. And that's not all either. The terrain here actually spans 64 kiloblocks. So yeah, that's why it's always looking so different all the time. There's a huge total span. So where am I going basically? I can see the point that I need to go to, and a really steep slope coming up right there. Yeah, that's the steepest possible. And if you look closely, you can actually see the sky getting brighter. And as I jump eventually, which is what I'm going to do, yeah, that's right, jump, you'll see that the sky is getting darker. You can probably notice that it's already noticeably darker. Except I want to jump at a specific time, which is right there. Maximum jump, and now I'm going all that straight up. Oh my goodness, that's going to be one monster high of a jump. Those air taxis just went by like there was nothing there. The reason for this is because I want to show you the supersonic air taxis. Yeah, supersonic air taxis. Get that wee little bit of extra speed. And it should be about there that I need. Noticing how the sky is getting rather dark. And that is actually a real world effect, and one that I'd actually like to see for myself. But it's exceedingly unlikely anytime soon. Just about to a stop. There's the supersonic air taxis, right there. They're going 1,536 miles an hour. Or 256 coordinate units per frame, basically. That's what I set their speed to. This basically means that I'm going this many pixels every frame in the foreground. And one frame is that. That's frame advance. That's drawing frame. Cycle is a little much more finer of a unit. Watch the clock. Yeah, it's almost on the millisecond scale. That's how fine it is. However, what's going on? I'm waiting for an extremely fast, ultra high speed drop here, so I can land on mountains. Just look how fast these things are going. As huge as these mountains are, and I'm making them look like there's nothing there. But once I finish bouncing, I'll be going at what I'm intending on doing. All kinds of layers of air taxis. Those, if I remember, go 480 miles an hour. I just set their speed to 80, because that's 80 coordinate units per frame, because that's the game's back-end units. That big city right there is Ryanara, named after my third favorite name, Ryan. And by the way, that lake is Lake Ryan, and there's also the Ryan River. Yeah, it's kind of silly how I have everything Ryan, but whatever, it don't make any difference. And wouldn't you know, there just had to be a cloud in the way. Still bouncing. You can see rivers splitting up here. You can see bridges out here like this right there that you can barely make out. There's actually rivers over here that fuse into one river. Just about. I want to get a decent enough vantage point, I would say right here. If you look closely enough, you can actually see shadows caused by the forests. And by the way, that is one change that I do still need to make, is with these forests here. Why do I need to make a change? I need a more worthy texture, but I'm waiting on getting a submission for trees to be finished before I bother with that. And this right here is Lake Ryan, complete with a suspension bridge, and towers rising up above, of which are also complete with shadows. How interesting. Yep, this is about the clearest view of Lake Ryan you can get. Pretty big city, huh? Except my own hometown, even though it's kind of remote and small to begin with, is actually bigger than that. Considerably bigger. Yeah, it's not a particularly big town, but you still kind of get the general idea at least. Okay, get that jump that I want. And now I've got a long way to go before I reach my next destination, because I have a specific order that I planned out for this, in case you're noticing here. Showed you the supersonic air taxis. All these mountain peaks going by. Hard to believe that I'm going over 100 pixels every frame, and yet these mountains right here look like they're not even moving. They're so slow. That's because they're at 512 for the scaling. It takes 512 pixels for those to move just one. Yeah, that's basically what 512 scaling means. These out here exactly match the resolution on my terrain minimap here. Those are 1024 scales. They move at the same rate, and basically, if you look closely enough, you can see a peak right there. My current destination is still quite a ways away, and yeah, you can see just how vast everything really is. Even with this great height, which is about kind of what an airline might have, way faster than an airline, but still, You might also be noticing ground decals between these mountains out here that are kind of hard to see because they're blocked by mountains and clouds along with it. So what's going on here? Well, there's a certain spot, I'm really close to it now. Right there. That should be about it. Yeah, you probably saw a bunch of air taxis whizzing by like that right there you just saw. Because this area right here was one of the areas I need to go to. Looks like I'm hitting a steep slope. Almost exactly straight across. Yeah, that's Ryan R there again. Just in a different vantage point. This point is not exactly the best point for seeing Ryan R in its full glory, or even Lake Ryan. You can barely even see Lake Ryan. However, once you get to that area where the second jumbo level was probably going to be, the second jumbo level, you'll probably want to reference my overview video on what exactly there is. I also mentioned check Platform Master's main site, because it's all explained there. But here you can actually see some pretty decent details all in here. And I just need to come to a stop. But right here you can see a freeway interchange. This is another freeway, and it's also got exit and entrance ramps along with it. Quite a lot of detail I sure put into this compared to what it was before, huh? And now for the final destination that I want to go to. And that is, well, during my trips to Minneapolis that I seem to be getting a lot more frequently all of a sudden, out of nowhere, considering that 8-year gap I had. Well, this is where I'm otherwise get one of the ideas. What is that idea? Well, as you travel along the freeway, as my 2011 and 2012 vacation videos show, you'll often encounter areas known as rest areas. That's basically where you just go to the restroom and stuff like that. That's basically all rest areas primarily are. And I think that's far enough. Yeah, watching everything going by so really fast. 8 drawing frames and I go the width of the screen. That's just how fast this really is. In case you're wondering on that. On the horizontal. A little farther than I was looking for, but not bad. Actually I guess it was right on. Because now I hit that slope and off I go upwards again. Yeah, I got bounce physics added in. That's been in for a long time. So where's drag at? Well, I'm not going to be adding drag. It's by design that I do not want drag. And there's actually reasons for that. One, I love speed and then some. Why else would I have gotten that 2,000, almost 3,000 mile an hour at that one point? Second, I'd like you to be able to see the stars if you upgrade jumping to the extreme. Because otherwise with drag, a small change ain't going to get you any much higher. But and clouds are in the way again. Right there you can see the rest area. This right there is the building. Can you see the building right here? What do you know, the train's going by it. Yep, that's basically all there is to the rest area. And that otherwise concludes this video. This video was created by Ulillillia. Thank you for watching. And be sure to, well, enjoy this world, because it is my very top favorite world of them all. Not to mention the extreme speeds you can get.